A very good afternoon. This is Avinindra Som and you're listening to the news in detail on Gold FM.
The news headlines on Gold FM.
No electricity tariff hikes as CB fails to submit document on time. Benchmark intraday exchange rate is a risky move, says expert. 7 hit with travel ban in Express Pearl probe. Concerns over the first-year education reforms. Doctor strike in Eastern Province suspended. US military evacuations and airspace closures, but Trump takes step back. IMF chief in Kyiv on unannounced visit.
The top story on Gold FM.
Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi launched a high-stakes diplomatic defense on its government's crackdown on domestic unrest, characterizing a surge in protest-related deaths as a foreign orchestrated conspiracy designed to bait the United States into a direct military conflict. In a contentious interview with US media network Fox News, Brett Baer on Wednesday, Araghchi dismissed international estimates that the death toll has climbed as high as 12,000, claiming instead that casualties remain in the hundreds. He further alleged that the terrorist cells, utilizing Daesh-style tactics, were responsible for the violence, claiming security forces were the ones under siege. Araghchi's central claim rests on the theory that rogue actors directed by Israel are intentionally killing both civilians and police to force a response from the Trump administration. He said, quote, "They wanted to increase the number of deaths because President Trump has said that if there are killings, he would intervene." The foreign minister's attempt to project an image of full control and calm stands in stark contrast to the ground reality described by humanitarian groups and news outlets around the world. Eyewitnesses have consistently reported government snipers firing from rooftops into crowds of unarmed protesters who initially took to the streets following a catastrophic economic crash in late December. The crisis is reverberating through the halls of the US Capitol, as Senator John Fetterman has signaled he is open to additional US strikes on Iranian targets, citing reports that the regime is slaughtering thousands of its own people. While Araghchi insisted during his interview that there are no imminent plans to execute protesters, the rhetoric from Washington suggests that the threshold for US intervention may be closer than Tehran admits. As the Iranian rial continues its downward spiral, the protests, originally sparked by economic desperation, have evolved into a direct challenge to the Islamic Republic's 47-year rule. Despite Araghchi's warnings that high levels of tension could be disastrous for everybody, the combination of internal dissent and external military threats has placed the regime in its most precarious position in decades.
This is the local news on Gold FM.
Tamil communities in Sri Lanka and across the globe celebrated Thai Pongal today, the traditional Hindu festival dedicated to the sun god. The occasion, which marks the start of the Hindu New Year, is defined by the offering of the first portion of a bountiful harvest to the sun as a gesture of gratitude. Central to the celebration is the preparation of a traditional dish made from rice, jaggery and fresh milk, cooked in a new clay pot, offered alongside fruits and sweets. Now, in his official message, President Andra Kumar Dissanayake said the festival symbolizes prosperity and gratitude, calling it an invitation to embark on a new journey with courage and confidence. He urged the nation to unite in the effort to rebuild following recent natural disasters, stressing the importance of national reform. Prime Minister Dr. Hani Amarasuriya also extended her greetings, stating that the country stands at the threshold of a critical transformation. She emphasized the government's commitment to leading the nation towards the Renaissance era through structural and attitudinal changes. Meanwhile, opposition leader Sajid Premadasa called for the building of a compassionate society, noting that the stability of a multi-ethnic and multi-religious nation deepens on respecting the unique cultural identities of all citizens. Now in more local news, Sri Lanka's ambassador to Israel, Nimal Bandara, issued a series of safety guidelines for Sri Lankans residing in the country as regional tensions escalate. Nationals are advised to remain in their homes or seek immediate shelter in nearby safe rooms should an emergency occur, and are urged not to panic if the communication or power services are temporarily disrupted. Those planning to travel to Israel in the coming days are also being told to monitor the situation closely, as the embassy remains on high alert to ensure the safety of the thousands of Sri Lankan migrant workers currently in the region. The Government Medical Officers Association warned it will launch a continuous nationwide strike starting January 23rd if the Health Ministry fails to implement agreed upon reforms. Spokesperson Dr. Shamil Vijay Singha stated that a 10-day ultimatum was given to authorities to formalize the Sri Lanka Medical Service category and update the disturbance, availability and transport allowance as previously promised in writing. While a separate regional strike in the eastern province remains temporarily suspended for the Thai Pongal festival, the union is expected to decide tomorrow whether to resume the localized action against the medical superintendent of the Akare Pattu Base Hospital. The Ministry of Education revised its school guidelines to delay the introduction of a new grade 6 syllabus until next year, reverting to the previous curriculum for the current academic term. The decision follows warnings from the Combined Teachers Services Union, which highlighted significant practical difficulties in rolling out new educational reforms for primary grades. While the government maintains the delays necessary for a smoother transition, opposition figures and union leaders continue to criticize the lack of preparedness and the potential impact on students' learning progress. Now, the introduction of a benchmark intraday exchange rate will be a risky measure. That's according to former Central Bank Deputy Governor W.A. Vijayawardena. His views come against a backdrop where the Central Bank Governor Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe said that this exchange rate will be introduced this year. The Central Bank chief said that the measure is to ensure transparency in the foreign exchange market. Speaking to us, Vijayawardena first explained how this mechanism works.
The IMF wants central banks to maintain total flexibility in the management of the exchange rate so that the exchange rate will actually determine in the market by the market forces, the demand for foreign exchange and the supply of foreign exchange. But in a country like Sri Lanka, we have a very thin foreign exchange market. And as a result, if there's a big demand for foreign exchange on a given day, for example, now when I was in the central bank, one of the biggest problems we had was when New Zealand Dairy Board wants to remit money back to New Zealand, they had to buy foreign exchange from the market, and since the market didn't have foreign exchange, the exchange rate immediately got depreciated. So because of this reason, central bank can now look at the long-term requirements of the country and also give a direction to commercial banks, and this is the optimal exchange rate at which they have to do transaction. So as a result, the day-to-day fluctuation in the exchange rate due to shortages of foreign exchange available in the market will not happen. For example, if there's a higher inflow of foreign exchange to the country, what we normally see is that the exchange rate will have to appreciate against the US dollar. And that appreciation is also costly for the export sector of the country. At the same time, as I said, if there's a big, say, oil bill by the Petroleum Corporation or the LIOC and also other importers, because those are big transactions. So when they go to the market and try to buy foreign exchange, the exchange rate is under pressure for depreciation. So what the central bank is now trying to do is to avoid those high fluctuations in the exchange rate intraday. They will give an indicator, this should be the exchange rate. What it means is even if there's a pressure for appreciation, the bank will not be appreciating the currency. What they can do is they can sell back the excess foreign exchange to the central bank. At the same time, when there's a pressure for the exchange rate to depreciate in the market, the central bank will have to resupply that foreign exchange to the market so that the exchange rate will not depreciate in the market. So along with the intraday indicative exchange rate, the central bank has assumed the responsibility of buying an unlimited amount of foreign exchange from the market when there's a surplus, and also supplying an unlimited amount of foreign exchange when there's a deficit, which is again not a good thing for a central bank to do in my view.
He then explained the risks associated with it.
it's a risky measure. It's a good measure in terms of the stability in the exchange rate. But it's a risky measure for the central bank to maintain that benchmark exchange rate. Bank will have to buy. It's like a fixed exchange rate system that we had prior to 1977. Central bank has an obligation to buy the excess foreign exchange that is available in the market in unlimited amount by increasing the reserve money of the country. At the same time, central bank has to supply foreign exchange from its foreign exchange reserve when there's a deficit. But if there is a continuous pressure for the exchange rate to depreciate, central bank will lose all foreign exchange reserves that it is having. Therefore, we will be going back to the situation we had in the year 2022. That's why it's a risky measure.
Now for some news in brief.
Showers or thunder showers are likely at a few places in the Kaluthara, Gaul, Mathur and Ratnapura districts after 4 p.m, while mainly fair weather will prevail elsewhere with misty conditions expected in parts of the western, Sabragamuwa, central and northwestern provinces during the early morning hours. The joint opposition led by the Samagi Janabala Vege secured control of the Colombo Municipal Council's Finance Committee by winning 5 of 6 seats, defeating the ruling National People's Power in a vote that grants the opposition key oversight of municipal finances.
The business news on Gold FM.
California's Attorney General launched an investigation into Elon Musk's XAI following reports that its Grok model is being used to generate non-consensual sexually explicit deepfakes. While Musk has denied awareness of such content and dismissed the probe as a politically motivated attempt at censorship, legal experts suggest that the company may not be protected by federal immunity laws if the AI itself is creating the illegal imagery. The investigation follows mounting international pressure, including warnings from the UK government and calls from US senators for Apple and Google to remove X and Grok from their respective app stores. Taiwanese semiconductor manufacturing company posted a record 35% jump in the fourth quarter profit to $16 billion. The world's leading producer of advanced chips saw net profits climb to over 500 billion Taiwan dollars, marking a 7th consecutive quarter of double-digit growth. Driven by high demand for artificial intelligence technology, the firm expects first quarter revenue to surge by 40% to nearly $36 billion. To maintain its market dominance, the company plans to increase capital spending as much as $56 billion in 2026.
International news on Gold FM.
IMF Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva arrived in Kyiv today for a critical talk as Ukraine approaches the 4th anniversary of the full-scale Russian attacks on Ukraine. Georgieva is scheduled to meet with President Volodymyr Zelensky and Prime Minister Yulia Servydenko to review progress on a new $8.2 billion 4-year lending program. The discussions come at a pivotal time as Ukraine's 2026 survival budget allocates nearly 27.2% of the GDP to defense, leaving a massive financing gap that requires urgent international support. Approval of this IMF program is essential for unlocking a broader $136.5 billion support package through 2029, intended to sustain the economy as the war enters its 5th year.
Entertainment news on Gold FM.
The award-winning British author Julian Barnes suggested that his upcoming novel may be his final work of fiction. Speaking to foreign media, the Booker Prize winner expressed his hope that the book would be a good one to go out on, signaling a potential conclusion to a career that has spanned several decades.
Sports news on Gold FM.
The ICC Under-19 Cricket World Cup begins today in Namibia and Zimbabwe, featuring 16 teams across 4 groups, including host Zimbabwe taking on Scotland and India facing the USA. Sri Lanka is set to begin its campaign against Japan on Saturday, while also facing Australia and Ireland in the group stages. And that's all the news for now, but do stay tuned to Gold FM for all the latest updates and the next news highlight coming up at 1:30 p.m. This is Avindra Soma for Gold FM News. Have a great day ahead.